I call Sue Williams CO.
Good morning, talofa lava, marefua maia lau fionga il fong fetalai. Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I want to follow on from Dr. Kennedy Graham, Kennedy Graham and others from New Zealand First, and saying to this Parliament, sir, that there is a real need for us to take this issue seriously, lay aside the politics, and take on board the call that Dr. Megan Woods has made, that we come together as cross-party to find ways that we can do and come up with the solutions that will address not only our international obligation relating to climate change, but also do the right thing for this country and its future generations. Sir, I've got 4 points, and I hope that you won't intervene when I mention Pacific in my debate, sir. The first point, sir, that I want to make is people would have noticed a report that the New Zealand Herald made yesterday with reference to an event that has been organised by community workers called Park Up for Homes. Park up your cars for homes in Māngere. I bring that to the attention of this House, sir, because I've been asked to invite the government ministers to participate in this event. To participate. You see, sir, I'll get to the point, Jerry, I'll get to the point. You see, people, climate change, contrary to that other side, is not just about rising seawater levels, sir. It's not just about rising seawater levels. It's also because our climates are changing. It's getting colder, it's getting hotter. So, and last month, the February month was one of the hottest summers of our history, and people here are fearful that this winter is going to be the coldest winter in our history. And so, in light of what this government said at the beginning of this budget, that there is no support for people sleeping in cars, this is an event, sir, to give the opportunity to this government to come park your car and sleep from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. on June the 16th so that they can experience themselves the kind of cold environment that the public of New Zealand are going to experience this particular winter. So that's the first point. I'm inviting, Jerry Brownlee might want to attend, but I'm particularly inviting the ministers who live in Auckland. Come join us, bring your car and experience for yourselves what it's like to sleep in a car during this cold winter. Second point I want to make, sir, and second point, yeah, I wouldn't want to sleep with him either. Second point I want to make, sir, is that I am pleased that the minister has taken this step, but she's also acknowledged that it is not enough. And we say to her, continue the work and look broader. Because in addition to what we've got to do here in New Zealand, we've also got to repair our damaged reputation. I'll give you some points, sir, which was raised earlier by some of the other speakers. At the Paris meeting, sir, on the very first day, we received a fossil fuel award. A fossil fuel award, sir. And the fossil fuel award is awarded by a global international network of climate change activists, which includes some of the scientists who are working with the United Nations to provide the scientists, to provide the evidence, sir, for countries to use to combat climate change. That fossil fuel award was awarded to us because the Prime Minister made the point at that event that his government was abolishing the subsidies on fossil fuel. But the global international network of activists know that that's not true. That since his election in 2008, the fossil fuel subsidies have actually increased by 700%. So we do need to do more, sir, to repair our damaged reputation. The third point, that is not a lie. That is not a lie. In fact, sir, I quote in the report that was made that the Prime Minister was hypocritical in his statement at that fossil fuel event.
Order. Now, the word lies is unparliamentary and we won't use it again. And to say the government is hypocritical, that's out too. Sir Williams, yeah.
So that was the second point. fossil fuel award because of the failure of this government to abolish fossil fuel subsidies. 700% it's gone up since the Prime Minister came into power. Third point, sir. A report was released in February of this year by Gareth Morgan saying that our government is a climate change cheat. In that report, sir, it revealed that the emission trading scheme that we've been emitting emissions by purchasing credits from other countries or other companies that are reducing their emissions. But, sir, this report highlighted the fact that we've been buying credit from countries which credit schemes are deemed fraudulent. Ukraine is one, Russia is one that this report revealed. And this government knows that they're fraudulent, but they continue to use these credits to show the international as if we are meeting our international obligation. So we got a second fossil fuel award because we are at the bottom of the 20% of countries with the lowest emissions targets. So, second fossil fuel award because we are saying to the international company that we have reduced our emission carbon by continuing to emit and buying credit that is fraudulent. When, despite the fact that we know that these credits are fraudulent, we're holding up that we're doing our part, and that is simply not true. So the point I'm making is the minister needs to do more. It needs to repair our reputation, the harm and damage that her colleagues have caused in damaging our green climate image that once upon a time, it was only of the last previous government, sir. The previous Labour government did a lot of work, and once upon a time, sir, we were seen by the international community as a credible voice on climate change. The Pacific tell me this. The Pacific governments tell me this. But now they tell me, sir, that this government has got a reputation that they cannot trust. They cannot trust this government when it comes to climate change. Because at that Paris meeting, this is the government that also blocked off the call for compensation for the most vulnerable countries affected by climate change. This is the country that led that charge. This is the country that goes out and says to the Pacific community, we are your friends. We are going to support you. So on the one hand, it says that, and on the other hand, it does these other things by blocking what the country is saying. So in that report and the fossil fuel award that they received, the Global International of Climate Change Activists did use that word that you have asked me not to use, the H word. They used that word to describe the action of this Prime Minister. And that is not anything that we can be proud of. Those awards are not awards to be proud of. They are rebukes by the international community. They are awards that we should hang our head in shame of, sir. I want to say, sir, that I wrote a notice of motion, which I don't know whether that government has took notice of. But I want to repeat it for their sake. On Tuesday, I moved that this House acknowledge and take note that newly released scientific evidence confirms that climate change with sea level rise, erosion and coastal flooding is a significant threat to the safety and security of the people in the Pacific, with evidence published in the environmental research letters revealing that 5 reef islands of the Solomon Islands group that once supported dense tropical vegetation, which was at least 300 years old, had disappeared, while a further 6 had severe shoreline recession, further evidence of the urgent need to tackle climate change. And further note that New Zealand should prepare for the emergency of people in the Pacific who are or will be displaced from their homes and land through no fault of their own, but a result of climate change. Sir, the point made, this government has used this budget, has used this legislation to appear as if they are doing something when it's baby steps, as my colleagues have called it. I'm glad that the Minister has acknowledged that more needs to be done, a greater more needs to be done with some sense of urgency. I know that she's probably surrounded by people on her side who do not believe that climate change is real. But I'm glad that she acknowledges that, sir, and I ask this government, take on the challenge, treat it as real, come out on the 16th of June in Mangere with your car, sleep in the car, and experience for yourself the cold climates that the people of New Zealand are
Sorry, the
experiencing right
member's
now.
time has expired.